Just as we leave the esplanade, we come across our first thing, the Witch's Well. There's a little monument to one side. Now, back in the day, some women were thought to be witches and were put on trial. If they drowned, they were innocent. If they survived, they were a witch. And you can just see these two thingies here. The Witch's Well, which is a little info bitty there, and just to one side was a little fountain that was built to commemorate it. Also at the end of the esplanade is a little restaurant called the Cannonball Contini. Now thousands of people walk past it every day and don't realise the cannonball part of it. Well, everyone's heard of the 1 o'clock gun, or most people have, which surprisingly happens at 1 o'clock. The cannon which they use now is all modernised and it's probably just a noisemaker and such. However, the very first, or one of the first cannons, was the one that they used to fire the ball, and after a misfire, the cannon ball ended up in the side of this building, which I'll show you a picture of now. Now, this building behind me is St Giles Cathedral. Now, thousands of people walk past every day, but however, they walk down the main bit of the Royal Mile. Now, what people don't actually realise is there's a little bit behind it, where we're going to now, which is now used as a car park. Well, back in the day, when Edinburgh was less civilised as it is now and less built up and such, there used to be a little graveyard and such around the back. Now, I don't know the full story of John Knox, and maybe something I'll look into later on, but I do know there's a building halfway down the mile that's built in his name, but there's also a little car park space here, which is number 23 I believe, which is where his graveyard, or his gravestone is, or where his grave is when it was a graveyard. And yep, so here we are now. I'm just going to top, and here we are now, just this one here, this little square here by number 23. I'll just take a quick picture to show you guys. Also behind St Giles Cathedral, in the car park area, is my two favourite statues along the mile. Just at the top of the one behind me is a unicorn, which is the national animal for Scotland. Don't know why, but it is. But also, my second favourite monument is one of James Braidwood, which is just behind me now. He was a leading fireman back in the day, and in my montage, you can see that I used to be a fireman myself back in the day. But so here's my favourite. Now here's some pictures. I'll show you of the two monuments. Now, back in the day, the plumbing and such wasn't like what it is now. I've mentioned it before in the video about the human waste. However, people that back in the day still needed drinking water. Now, there was no plumbing like taps we get nowadays. You just turn it, you got instant water, or visit your local shop and buy bottles of stuff. Now, along the mile, there's two of these things here, which is watering holes. So, someone from the family, or you'd get people doing it for you, they'd come here, press the lever thingy, and out of it would come water out of the mouth and such. Now, along the Royal Mile, as many of you would have seen, there's roughly 100 different lanes, closes and such. One of them probably the most popular one, showing of how life used to be back in the day, was Merry King's Close, which you can see just above me now. And if you're in town, it's definitely worth a visit to see how things used to be. Who is it that sings, "I wish it could be Christmas every day"? Seems like in Edinburgh it is. Twice daily. Now, back in the day, before Edinburgh developed into the city it is now, all it was roughly half a mile square, going from the castle down to this junction here, which I'll show you in a second. And there was a big lake on one side, and there was a wall going on the south side of the city. Now, there's a pub just here, which is the world's end, because as far as the people in Edinburgh knew, it was the end of the world. And there's even some markings for gates, which I'll show you on the road now. So there was a big gatehouse and all sorts, allowing access into the city from this end. Now, just above the gatehouse, there's a big bell. But if you look in the distance just there, above my shoulder, you can just about see a bell on the top of the building. That bell used to be on top of the gatehouse. Now, if you look to the very end of the road, just by the orange bus, you can see a wall. That was a continuation of the wall, denoting the city boundaries. Now, this is Canongate Church. This is where Zara Phillips and Mike Tyndall got married a few years back. Now, there's a few things about here which a lot of people don't realise, which I didn't realise for a while. Now, if you look at the very top of this, might not be able to see it too good, but at the very top of this church is a statue of a golden fleece, which I'll show you a better picture of later on. But another thing which a lot of people don't realise is I'm going to go through to this bit here, and this. The second thing is this tree that was laid by Prince Philip back in a few years back, which I'll show you a better picture of later on. And the final thing is we're going to go to this little statue, this grave thing just here. Now, you must have had a good stonemason or something, and this little, like a little, I'll just show you a better picture of this side, this one here, and a little animals and a boy all shaped into it. So I'll just take some pictures and I'll show you some better ones now. Now, just down this close is a nice little garden, which just gives you a bit of sanctuary from the noise and such on the mile. So I'll take a little wander through and I'll show you the pictures.